When I think of musical exercise, I usually think of the guy at my gym who still has not realized we can hear the Cyndi Lauper blaring through his headphones. But after that, I like to think of ways to try to combine like arpeggios and chords into a more musical practice atmosphere that isn't quite as stale and boring. So the exercise that we're going to use for today is going to sound like this. Alright, so this is basically just one octave of the major scale and the minor scale and a couple chord voicings. Alright, so we're going to start, by the way, this is in the key of G. So we're going to start with the G major chord, just a bar chord rooted on the 3rd fret of the E string. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to play this in a little bit of a groove way. So we're going to go, what I'm doing is I'm hitting the root, the E string, then the A string, the 5th of the chord, and then the chord. So E, A, chord. And now I'm going to run into an arpeggio. Alright, and this is really, we've done this one before in a couple of the other videos, but all we're going to do is we're going to start on the root note. We're going to hit the 2nd note of the major scale, so G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. That's the shape that you should really start to know by now. We're going to get the G, A. We're going to slide to the B instead of going across the string to the B. So we're going to slide into the B, the major 3rd, to the 5th, the D. So G, A, B, D, straight down, and then start the shape again. G, A, B, D, G, A, and then we're going to go up a string. So again, your finger doesn't really have to ever leave the fretboard. That last E here, the 7th fret on the A string is where we're going to end, is going to be the start of our next chord. So again, we've got a G major chord into this E, right? So now we're going to land here and play a different chord, an E minor chord, right? So you probably know this voicing. Rooted on the 7th fret of the A string, 9D, 9G, middle finger on the B string there, and then you can kind of just bar it or just get the first 4, whatever you want to do. And here we're going to take our second shape, the minor scale shape. Alright? Another shape you should really have under your belt. If you only know 2 shapes, know the major scale and the minor scale, because you can apply them to a lot of different ways. So we've got the G chord into the same kind of pattern. We're going to get the root, the 5th, and there. So we kind of have a symmetry between these 2 chords, right? And these chords are important because E is the relative minor of G, and that means we can use anything in the minor scale, which we're going to use to connect back to the G. All right, so we've got this A, D. So all I'm doing is I'm going hammering into the 5th note of the E minor scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going from 4 to 5. And as far as frets go, it's 7 to 9. Back. There it is, there's the minor scale. I'm just playing backwards the first 5 notes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to go back to this D note here, which I'm thinking of as kind of like the connection between this chord and this chord. I'm kind of pivoting on this note. So we've got this G, E, backwards through the minor scale, D to G. I think that's a little bit more of a musical way to practice scales and arpeggios. And we're going to do another one with a different voicing. And we're going to start now here on this E minor. This is going to be our first chord for the second part of this exercise. And we're going to go to a higher voicing of a G major chord. So this G major and this G major, same chord, different voicing. Now we're rooting on the 10th fret, the G of the A string. And I'm getting the 12th fret of the D, G, and B strings, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a similar kind of arpeggio thing. And we're going to kind of do more of a little bit of a bluesy thing. So there's a lot of different ways you can play this, but I like kind of getting into this chord voicing. And we're going to slide into the root note. grab the minor third, which the minor third, again, most of the time is down a string, back 2 frets. A minor third of E being G. We can do it on this same string, but I want to slide back to get the root, the minor third, the 4th, and the 5th, and then the 7th, the minor 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's a really symmetrical shape here. And then end up on the 5 again. So 1, 3, 4, 5, minor 7, 5. And then from here, let's just jump right into that next chord voicing. Okay, so again, we've got the E minor. Now again, the first scale that we used was the major scale. Up here, we're going to repeat that exact same thing, but on the A string, G. It'll just be an octave higher than here, right? So all I'm going to do is once I get into this chord voicing, I'm going to walk it backwards through here. So if we think of like the numbers of the major scale, we can think 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. All right, I'm just going backwards through this shape. Now, if you notice, I'm playing the shape here with my pinky, but if I'm coming at it from the chord voicing, I'm just going to use my ring finger. And then back to the low G. All right, so we've got the low G chord, E, A chord, arpeggio into E minor, backwards through the minor scale, back to the G chord. E minor. So just a couple different ways that we can maybe more musically incorporate practicing your scales and your arpeggios and your chord voicings into one exercise. It sounds a little bit more, to me it sounds more interesting than just kind of just like shredding and stuff like that too. So basically you can use these arpeggios and scales over any different chords you want, but I just wanted to pick a root note and its relative minor to kind of use it as an example. So really kind of move these patterns all over the fretboard. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, the website, or the comment section, and I'll get back to you soon.